Hey everybody, welcome to Fit Tip Tuesday. Today I want to talk about how to grade your pattern pieces up a size. And the reason why I'm doing this topic this week is because I'm teaching the great rub off for stitches at home. And during the first class on Sunday, somebody asked about making the pattern bigger after they rubbed it off. And just to back up one step farther, a rub off is when you make a copy of your garment by either tracing it or putting patternese or non-fusible interfacing on top of it and tracing sections of the garment to then create a pattern piece without taking it apart. So I thought it'd be kind of cool just to give you a little intro to pattern grading. And I have a workbook called Pattern Grading for Home Sewers. You can see I have it here in front of me, and it's available as a PDF download. So I thought, since I'm doing this video and I'm not going to do a complete pattern, I just want to give you the general idea of how to grade a pattern. I'm going to offer a coupon code, so if you'd like to get the workbook to have the entire, all the information with information on how to grade a shirt front and back, a sleeve, and pants front and back, and a skirt, you can take advantage of that. So check the description below for a coupon code to get the PDF version of this workbook for $10. It's normally $15. I'm going to give a $5 off coupon code for, the foreseeable future, for the next few weeks. So if anybody wants to try it, they can get it at a little bit of a discount. So you can see on the cover here, I actually have a picture of the grading ruler that comes in the PDF, and you can print it out on a piece of vellum so you can see through it. And we're going to be using this as our ruler to grade the pattern instead of using a standard ruler. And what I want to just point out to you here is, and just talk about grading a little bit. Grading is the process of making a pattern bigger or smaller from a starting size. So when I create a new pattern, from my sample size, I will grade down a series of sizes and I will grade up a series of sizes. Now, the thing about grading is different parts of the pattern change differently. So, for example, the neck, shoulder area of a pattern is going to get bigger or smaller in much smaller increments than your side seams and areas below the neck and shoulders. And what I want to do here is just show you, I have this picture here in the workbook, and it has 5 women in a variety of sizes from size 10 to size 18. But what I want you to notice here is if you look at their neck and shoulders, they're almost the same size across the row here. And what that's illustrating is if you look at the graded pattern next to it, you can see that the neckline and shoulders, the grading is very close together, and then when you get over to your side seams, the grading gets, it gets bigger, or a bigger change between sizes. So that's one thing we're going to consider. Another thing is, if you're working with smaller sizes, so like from 0 to size 6, let's say, the grade or the change between sizes is going to be smaller than if you're working with a size, 18, 20, 22, 24. The difference is going to be greater. And the reason for that is the larger the size you're working with, the more your body is going to change based on its position. So for example, when I stand up, I have very straight boy legs, but then when I sit down, my legs spread out and become more curvy. This change is more pronounced as sizes get larger. So that's why there's a bigger difference between sizes that are larger than smaller. So The next thing I want to talk about here is there's two different terms I just want to make you familiar with. There are grade rules and cardinal points. A grade rule is a set of measurements you can use to adjust a pattern up or down one size. And the difference between sizes can be 1.5, 2, or 3 inches. And in my workbook, I have grade rules for a 2 and 3 inch difference between sizes. And then cardinal points are the areas of the pattern that you're going to make these changes. So the cardinal points are where you need to go to make the change. The grade rule is the exact amount you need to change that cardinal point in the X and Y direction on a grid. So the X direction is horizontal, left and right, and the Y direction is the vertical direction, up and down. Let me show you how to use a grade rule to grade a shirt front up one size. So we're going to be working with a 2-inch grade. I'm going to be working with my grading ruler, and I'm going to use the corner of my clear grid ruler as a pointer to mark the new position of each grade point. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is label the existing grade points where they are on the pattern. Okay, so there's a certain set of points that we're going to be moving to grade this shirt front up one size. And just to make it clear, I'm going to put a red dot and I'm going to label them 1 for the center front neckline, 2 is going to be the neckline shoulder edge, 3 is going to be the shoulder armhole edge, 4 is going to be the mid armhole notch, or approximately where the notch in the armhole is. That's 4. The base of the armhole is 5. The middle of the side seam is 6, and this is usually the smallest part of the side seam where the waistline is. And then the hem is 7, and the center front edge at the hem is 8. Now, just to keep my pattern from sliding around, I'm going to tape it to the table in 2 places just to keep it from moving. Okay, and we are going to start. We're going to start with the grade point number 1 at the center front neckline. So if we look at my grade rule chart here, we're not going to grade the center front edge. And if you have a collection of patterns in your stash, you may notice that sometimes the center front edge is the same for all the sizes and all the grading is done out towards the side seam. Other patterns may split that up and there may be some grading along the center front edge and the side seam edges. But if you were to compare those two, the size of it would be the same. So whether or not we're just grading just on the side seam or whether we're grading center front and side seam, the end result would be the same. So for this example, we're not going to grade out or push out the center front edge. So our first point is going to be our neckline center front edge. And the important thing is you want the grading ruler to be parallel to the grain line of your pattern. So I find using this grading ruler to be easier. And you've noticed here I've taped my pattern so it's parallel to the grid of my work surface. So then I can use all these horizontal and vertical lines to make sure that I'm keeping my grade ruler parallel to the grain line. Okay, so the first thing is, if we look at the chart, we're just going to be moving the center front neckline up in the Y direction. So remember, the Y direction is the vertical up and down direction. The X direction is horizontal. And because we're not grading out on this, in this example, we're not going to make a change in the X direction or the horizontal direction. So I'm going to just put my bullseye, the original center right on the center of the position of the original point here. And according to my grade rule, I need to move this point up 1/4 inch. So I'm going to move the tip of my ruler up 2 blocks like this, and I'm going to just push my ruler away, and then I'm just going to make a little dot here so it's marks the position or the new position of that center front neckline. Now we're going to go to the neckline shoulder, which is over here, and I'm going to put my ruler right over it, again making sure that my ruler is parallel, or the grid of my ruler is parallel to my grain line. And in this instance, we are going to move over 1/8 of an inch in the X direction. So I'm going to move in the X minus or left direction over 1/8 inch. And then I'm going to move up 1/4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to get that right into position. Then I'm going to slide the ruler out of the way, and I'm just going to make a dot there. Then for the armhole shoulder, it's over here. For the armhole shoulder, we are going to line up the ruler back at the bullseye, and I am going to move the point in the minus direction, again in the X direction 1/8 inch in the negative or left direction, and then up the same 1/4. So 1, 2. Okay, and so then I'm just going to mark that position there. Okay, now we are going to move over to the notch, or the notch of the armhole, and I'm going to put my bullseye into position. And for this, we are not going to make a vertical or Y direction change. I'm just going to push the armhole out in 3/16 of an inch. So just a tad over 1/8 inch. So here we are at the original position. I'm going to move to the left 1/8 inch, and then halfway between the next two lines, or halfway to the next box here, to get 3/16. And I'm just going to make a dot. All right, and then on the side seam edge, this is where we start to make what would make sense for a 2-inch grade. We are going to move the side seam out 1/2 inch. So let me get my bullseye into position. My grading ruler is parallel to my grain line. I am just going to move out this point. I have to move it out 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And oh look, I don't have enough paper. Let me just grab a piece of paper from over here. I'm just going to tape it over here so I can have enough paper for this grade rule. I apologize for that. Let me just tape it. I'm going to tape it above and below like that. All right, so let me just get this back here. I'm going to move this point out 1/2 inch, so 4 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to move the ruler out of the way, and I'm just going to make a dot there. Okay, then we're going to go down to the middle of the side seam for my grade point number 6. And again, I'm going to be moving that out 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Move the ruler out of the way and just mark that. And then down at the hem, we're going to do the same 1/2 inch. So let me slide my ruler in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. All right, so we have one grade point left, number 8, and in this instance, because we're not grading the center front edge, this point stays the same. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get my grade ruler out of the way, and basically now what we have to do is connect these dots. So the easy ones are the side seam, and you can see I'm lining my ruler up so that it's a 1/2 inch away from the original edge of my pattern, and I'm doing that just to show you that that grading I did matches up with a 1/2 inch. Okay, then to get from this new position here, I'm going to just use my curve to help me dash that in. So I'm just going to sort of come down and then sort of create a smooth curve from my new base of my armhole to here, and then again I'm going to use a slight curve to create the other half of the armhole here. All right, so what you can see is we have a 1/2 inch here. We have, our 3/16 is right here, and then we have an 1/8 over here to up here. Okay, so you can see the grading's getting smaller around the neck and shoulder. So the shoulder is really easy to do. I just connect the dots with a ruler like this. And then to adjust the neckline, again, I'm going to use my curved ruler to sort of create a new shape here. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. And then I'm just going to straight add to the center front edge. Okay, so as you can see, what I've ended up with here is a shirt front. Once I finish grading the back as well, it's going to add 2 inches around the body of the shirt. It's only going to add a very small amount, through your shoulder and upper chest because we added much less here. This is an example of how you can grade your shirt front very easily. You would follow the same rule to grade the back, and then there's also a set of grade rules to adjust the sleeve. So if you have any questions about how to grade a pattern, please post them below and I will help you. If you'd like to get the complete workbook for how to grade your patterns, check out the coupon code and the link to my my online shop for the PDF version of pattern grading for the home sewer. I hope you enjoyed this little introduction to pattern grading, and if you're following along on the pattern hack attack, this Friday we are finishing up that topic by using the cover hem to hem our crop layering tee. So I'm going to use that to finish both the hem of the top and also the ends of the sleeves. So I hope you'll join me for that. I hope you're enjoying these Fit Tip Tuesdays, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you for watching.